Welcome back to HQ Spotlight. We're having so much fun with our basketball analysts, Tim Doyle and Mike O'Donnell, joining us here. Going to talk about the Nets next, because Brooklyn had 5 first-round picks in last night's opening round of the NBA draft. A lot of folks were doubtful that they'd use all of them. We spent a lot of time talking about the strategy here, and the strategy was use them all. So there you're looking at those 5 picks that Brooklyn used last night. The first one coming courtesy of Jagger Demond at number 8. As I mentioned, we've got Tim Doyle, Mike O'Donnell, and Haley Sutton. We're continuing to react to last night's draft, and we're going to talk about the Nets, guys. No team has ever made 5 first-round picks until the Nets did it last night. So before we get into grading the picks, Tim, did it surprise you how they handled the draft? Were you surprised to see them use all 5 of those first-round picks?
Yes, I actually can't believe it. I can't believe they didn't package that, because picks have value before the picks are made, right? It's always like, oh, maybe we'll get this guy, and instead they held on to all them. And then how did they do in the draft? I have no idea. We're not going to know until like 3 to 5 years.
You have a lot of incompletes on this list.
How did they do? I don't know. They drafted 5 basketball players that have a lot of potential. How's this draft going to grade out? It's going to have to be probably 5 years till we know the real grade.
So I agree a little bit with what Tim said. And I don't know what they were doing.
Voice? Do you like the voice?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
You've done that twice now today. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm used to it. What Brooklyn did is they drafted 4 of the top 5 best passers in the first round of the draft. 3 of those players are all point guards. I don't understand why you would draft 3 point guards. All 3 of those point guards are not scoring guards either. Between Igor Demond, Nolan Traore, and Ben Saraff, those guys are distributors, court mappers. All 3 are elite passers, magician-like guys on the courts, but then there was no real essentially shooting. Now, Drake Powell's a catch-and-shoot guy. I mean, there are a lot of people. He was a late first round, like early second round type of guy. And Danny Wolf is the best passing 7-footer in the entire draft. So I'm not sure what they were going for in terms of why would you draft 3 point guards. I love the mad scientists. We're going to get 4 of the best passers in the entire draft. Cool, great. Do you have shooting to go along with great passing? I don't know if that's the case.
Our Adam Finkelstein was talking online, reacting to it. Almost felt like it was like a draft and develop situation for Brooklyn with all of the pieces that they got there. So we're going to go through and we will grade each one of those picks. And we're going to start with Jagger Demond, a guy who was the Big 12 All-Freshman of the Year, averaged 10.4 points per game for you, MOD, just under 4 rebounds and 5.5 assists per game. I know you were excited about him as a player. What do you like about him going to Brooklyn? And how would you grade him?
Yeah, I would grade an A. I think a lot of people thought that Demond would go late in the lottery, maybe not that early to 8. But Brooklyn on that stage in New York, he is the best passer that I've seen in college basketball in the last 10 years. He has Maravich-like qualities in how he passes and distributes the ball, and he may be able to set New York on fire in his ability to make plays that you say, wow, I don't know how he made that pass.
I actually agree with everything you said. The only problem I have is, what's his first name?
Jagger.
I think you lean into Igor. I think you're Igor in New York.
Did you dock points for that on your grade? Did you tell us your grade?
My grade is an A as well. I love this guy's talent. High basketball IQ guys in my book, Haley, like guys that really understand the game at a high level. And when you're averaging 5.5 assists, that's a lot of assists to average in college, especially as a freshman. Now, they play fast and they score a lot of points, but he does a great job at changing speeds. He's just not a great knockdown shooter right now at this point in his career.
Struggled 27% from 3.
But I think this guy's got a world of potential. I absolutely love the pick. I just don't like the first name. I don't think New Yorkers are going to lean. I'm a New Yorker. We're going to call him Igor. And okay. I think he should just lean into Igor.
All right, well, I don't think that's fair, but you can call him whatever you want, I guess. We'll move on to the next pick here. I'm curious how you feel about this name at 19. Nolan Traore. Did I get that right?
You did. Last season. So I would grade this as a B because he was going to be a first rounder. Last year, many people thought that Traore would be a top 5 pick. He was that good overseas. Right. And he got a little bit exposed at a higher league overseas. But in this draft, he's not the best point guard in the draft, I think, but at worst, he's the 3rd best passer in this draft. But he is the fastest player from end to end with the basketball out of any guard in this draft class. And the way he's able to push the pace, very young, another really young kid, 18, almost 19-year-old, 6'4", true point guard. the best scorer out of all the 3 point guards that Brooklyn drafted?
I gave this an incomplete. I think expectations were extremely high for this guy 12 months ago, and now they've kind of tapered down. He ends up still being a first-round pick, but he's an incomplete for me. I need to see more against the best of the best. And
have you watched him play? Just out of curiosity,
yes.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So he does he remind you of with LaMelo Ball at all in the way that he bounces and moves, his fluidity?
No, I could see that.
Yeah.
But you're going to get in and start playing against guys that are, I mean, it's a totally different game, the international game to the NBA game. And now the game is changing and more guys are translating. But if you don't have athleticism, then you best be very, very strong. So when you get into the lane, you're like Luka and you're able to throw your shoulder and you're able to bounce off guys. So I think he has a ways to go body-wise. So right now, incomplete.
He needs Rajon Rondo strength. I think if he gets there, it could be really good.
So we go from one incomplete, Tim, to your next incomplete as well. When we look at Drake Powell out of UNC, this is a guy who averaged 7.4 points
How many
per
points?
game.
How many points?
Exactly 7.4.
First round pick in the NBA?
As a freshman, and he's a first round pick. So you give him an incomplete.
Yeah, I mean, played out of position at North Carolina. Can he make a shot? Apparently he can because he ended up being a first round pick, but yeah, I don't know what I'm going to get from this guy.
Maybe defensively, though, because looking at his numbers, he was the only player on UNC with 25 or more steals, 25 blocks last season. Like, does that move the needle for you at all?
He averaged 7 points a game in college Division I basketball. So this is one of those that, is he going to be ready to play next year, Mike? I don't think so. It looks like to me the draft was they took 4 international players, the Nets, and then this guy's like an ultimate wild card with a huge upside. So I don't know, incomplete.
Yeah, it's a C because of 7.4 points per game. But he is going to be a good 3-point shooter in the NBA because he's just going to space out. Right? He's going to be a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be Drake Powell's going to be one of those guys that if Brooklyn keeps him, he's going to be a two-way guy where you'll see him on the roster for a few nights, then you'll see him on their G League affiliates. But Drake Powell has all the intangibles to be a real 3-and-D player, but there is a long way to go.
Yeah, that's this theme that I'm sensing in Brooklyn right now. It's like we're not trying to win now. We're maybe trying to win in the future. We'll have to see how it shakes out. We continue the international flair, though. At 26, they had back-to-back picks. And at 26, they took Ben Saraf. Mike, you gave it a C. Tim, you gave it a B. Tim, I give you first word here because this is the first time that we've seen you give a grade in a couple of picks.
Yeah, I mean, high basketball IQ. He's got a great feel for the game. Kind of a traditional international player. Kind of fits with the motif of what the Nets were going for in the first round. They want guys that can pass, dribble. His shooting is still a work in progress, but I do like his body, his strength, him as a defender.
Has a chance to be really good in the NBA. There's a lot of Goran Dragic in his game. He's a lefty, 6'6" point guard, can throw over most defenses. I'm giving it a C only because he's a pure point guard just like Jagger Demond, and he's not like a shooting point guard either. That's why I don't understand the pick.
He's the 4th first-round pick from Israel to come over to the NBA in the draft. So excited for that international flair we keep talking about. We'll bring things back stateside, though, and talk about Danny Wolf going at 27. And, Mike, you and I spent many Saturday afternoons sitting in the studio talking about Danny Wolf and his impact on that Michigan team. How does that translate now to the professional level?
Ooh, B+ grade, though. Let me just start out by saying I'm a Danny Wolf apologist. I love his game. So the majority of his possessions at 7 feet tall in the half court, over 28% of his possessions were as the pick and roll ball handler. He ran pick and roll with Vlad Golden. It was 7 foot on 7 foot pick and roll, virtually unstoppable. I don't know how you scout for that. He's going to become a better 3-point shooter. He is essentially a point center. Now, his rim protection, Tim, has to get better. Defensively, there are things that he needs to do better. He needs to get a little bit stronger. But how many 7-foot guys do you see that can handle and pass like that? I have him as the 5th best passer in the draft, shooting close to about just over 33% from 3. But his court mapping and his passing, that doesn't come along very often.
No, I think you're spot on with your analysis. The only thing I'll add is I got a chance to see him in high school. He went to high school in Illinois, and nobody really wanted him. And he ended up at Yale. And his first year at Yale, he wasn't like blowing the doors off. He had a very strong second year. But when he went to Michigan and then Vlad Golden transferred there, I went, oh, that's not good. Like, what are they going to do? Play 2 7-footers in college? Nobody does that. It worked out to perfection. It actually wasn't a me, and he only upped his stock. My point is, he's a guy who's really worked on his game. He has grown so much since I saw him in high school to now getting drafted in the first round. That, to me, as a general manager, shows that the guy has put the time in the gym. He has to improve his body a little bit, little protein shake afterwards, shake that thing up with the shaker, and I think he's going to have a 10-plus year NBA career.
A little core power.
He needs to work on his body.
Yeah, well, he was really good at Yale, okay, first of all. So that second year, really good at Yale, but yeah, he did improve in Michigan.
All right, hopefully that improvement continues. You guys are too much. I wish everyone at home knew what it's like driving this ship, because you guys are a blast. Let's wrap up this conversation talking about the head coach. Jordi Fernandez, going into year 2, led this Brooklyn team to a 26-56 record. That's not good. But interesting, Tim, when I was going back and I was sort of trying to learn more about Jordi Fernandez, I was looking at what the players said about him from that first year. And I have this quote that came from D'Angelo Russell in their exit interview. It's really long, but the part that stands out to me says, to see what he is doing behind the scenes, to kind of make that the goal. It was genuine. He gives you the vibe that you want to play for him. So when you're looking at this situation where, you know, you're drafting and developing, you're going into year 2, there's high expectations, but you have the buy-in from the team. What does that sort of do to alleviate the pressure that he's facing?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, they're going to be terrible. There's no other way to say it. They're going to be awful. They won 26 games. I watch a lot of Nets ball. I grew up in New York. I think he's excellent out of a timeout. I think he has a high basketball IQ. And now he's drafting players. He wanted certain types of players, guys that played his sort of way. Now, will he get a chance, Mike, to ever develop them? Right? Trust the process. Remember that guy who was the coach? Like, see you later, buddy, like in Philadelphia. So who knows what's going to happen, but he has his stamp all over the team. He got the guys he wanted. It's not going to pay off, though, for many years.
Real quick, the Nets will win more or less games next year than they did this year?
More, because I'm positive.
We love positive, Mike. All right, got to hit another break here with these guys, but they're coming back one more time. Before we get there, though, take a look at this. The most first-round picks made in NBA draft history. That now belongs to the Brooklyn Nets. No team had taken 5 prospects in the opening round until Brooklyn did it last night.